Tonight, the island recorded 130 new cases of COVID-19 and 4 virus-related deaths yesterday, May 13, taking confirmed cases to 47,150 and the death toll to 838. Persons 50 years and older are now eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. This is down from the previous 60 years and older requirement.
Fall in that category, they can now make appointments to get vaccinated at a site closest to them.
Still tonight, the JCF and the Financial Investigations Division, FID, yesterday signed an MOU aimed at strengthening both organizations' response to, among other things, money laundering, organized crime, fraud, and financial crime.
Criminals should be really concerned about hiding their money from us, because we're going to find it, we're going to get it. We're going to wall off as best as possible our formal financial sector.
And the Manchaniel police in Portland have arrested 3 suspects in connection with the brutal slaying of 55-year-old Linva Lindsay and his wife Annette Gibson Lindsay at their home in Manchaniel on Wednesday morning. Good evening. Jamaica recorded 130 new cases of COVID-19 and 4 confirmed virus-related deaths yesterday, May 13. Now, this takes the total of confirmed cases to 47,150 and the death toll to 838. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness today, the latest deaths include a 58-year-old male from Manchester and a 74-year-old female from St. Catherine, while a 33-year-old female from St. James and a 60-year-old male from Portland, whose deaths were formerly under investigation, were today confirmed as virus-related fatalities. The ministry also reported 9 additional deaths as under investigation and 1 other death as coincidental. Meanwhile, the new cases consist of 70 females and 60 males, ranging in age from 3 to 95 years. The cases were recorded in St. Catherine with 44 cases, Kingston and St. Andrew recorded 41 cases, Manchester 11, St. Thomas 8 cases, St. James recorded 7 cases, Westmoreland 6 cases, St. Mary 5 cases, St. Anne recorded 3 cases, Hanover and Trelawney recorded 2 cases each, and St. Elizabeth 1 case. The ministry also reported 134 recoveries for a total of 22,895 recovered persons. There are 23,069 active cases of the virus on the island. In other news tonight, persons 50 years and older are now eligible to register for the coronavirus COVID-19 vaccine. This is down from the previous 60 years and older requirements. The announcement was made by the Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Christopher Tufton, during the weekly virtual COVID Conversations press briefing held yesterday.
The ministry also began administering second doses for persons who are now due. We have approximately 40,000 persons who are due for their second dose in the month of May. As at May 11th, 2021, we had inoculated for with the second dose 6,999 persons of the AstraZeneca vaccine. So 6,999 as of the 11th of May. The ministry, through its parish health department, is currently contacting persons to arrange for their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. We're encouraging members of the public who are due for their second dose and have not received their call to contact the National Vaccination Hotline at the same number, 888-1-LOVE or 888-663-5683. It's very important that those of us who are due our second doses, that we recognize the importance of going and getting it. And if you're not hearing from the ministry, and we are reaching out based on the database, but you never know, we may have margins of error, if you will, please make contact or visit the health center where you got the first dose, or the facility where you got the first dose. Just take your card and we will sort it out so that you can get that first dose. The second dose, sorry. The first dose is not enough. We must work. We must follow up to get our second dose. And we have the vaccines for the 40,000 Jamaicans who are due in the month of May.
Vaccination appointments can be made through the ministry's website at www.moh.gov.jm or the National Vaccination Hotline at 8881-LOVE. That's 888-663-5683. Dr. Tufton also reminded members of the public who have received the first dose of the vaccine that they are not fully protected until they receive the second dose.
We will continue to set appointments for persons in other priority groups to receive their dose of the AstraZeneca vaccines, which is, of course, the healthcare workers, members of the JDF and JCF, Department of Correctional Services, PICA, Jamaica Customs. So all those persons prior to this point who were considered priority will continue to be able to access, and we're now just adding another age cohort, 50 and over, for those persons who fall in that category. They can now make appointments to get vaccinated at a site closest to them. We have now completed 9 weeks of vaccination, and as at May 12, 2021, 146,147, so 146,147 Jamaicans have received their first dose of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. This means we have inoculated some 8% of the targeted population being 1.924 million, so 8% of that group. Breakout by region shows that of the 146,000 first dose administered, 47% have been in the Sarah region, which is the Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Catherine, and St. Thomas. Western region, 20%, which would be St. James, Hanover, Trelawney, and Westmoreland. The southern region, 21%, that's Manchester, Clarendon, and St. Elizabeth. And in the nearer region, which would be Portland, St. Mary, and St. Anne, 13%.
Still making the news tonight, over 200 students in 5 West Kingston communities are receiving improved access to virtual learning space and equipment. This under a combined $11.6 million Jamaican dollar investment made in tablets and technology centers donated by agencies of the United Nations in Jamaica. Students living in communities such as Tivoli Gardens, Denham Town, Hannah Town, Fletcher's Land, and central downtown Kingston will all benefit from this multi-million-dollar investment. Member of Parliament for West Kingston, Desmond McKenzie, welcomed the donations and stated that the devices are being handed over at a time when many more students are asking for this kind of assistance. Mr. McKenzie, who is also the local government minister, further stated that the learning equipment will energize many families who are struggling, especially those with only one phone to share for 4 or 5 children, and it will also give stimulus to those students who have already caught on to the online revolution, but are not in a position to afford a tablet or a smartphone. Still making the news tonight, the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, and the Financial Investigations Division, FID, yesterday signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, aimed at strengthening both organizations' response to, among other things, money laundering, organized crime, fraud, and financial crime. The MOU was signed by the Commissioner of Police, Major General Anthony Anderson, and the FID's Chief Technical Director, Selvin Hay, during an event staged at the office of the Commissioner of Police. FID's Chief Technical Director, Selvin Hay, said POCA is a powerful piece of legislation and should be readily used by all law enforcement agencies.
The purpose of this MOU is to formalize the long ongoing working relationship between both entities. It provides a logistic framework for assignment and management of JCF officers at the Constabulary Financial Unit situated at the FID, and to outline the procedures governing the wider working relationship between the JCF and the FID, as well as our responsibilities in giving effect to this agreement. In order to ensure that this regime is strong and effective, collaborations such as this are of critical importance. It will help to safeguard our financial services sector and to assist us in meeting our international obligations. Having identified the risks to which Jamaica is exposed, the country must strengthen and implement anti-money laundering measures that mitigate these risks. And this MOU, ladies and gentlemen, is another important step in achieving this objective. Given the national thrust to increase the use of the provisions of POCA, the Proceeds of Crime Act, across law enforcement, the FID pledges to provide assistance with training and development of all officers. This MOU solidifies this working relationship, which has always existed between the two organizations. It is mutually beneficial and formalizes our collaboration as we strive to tackle the scourge of organized crime.
Meanwhile, Commissioner of Police Major General Anthony Anderson added that this MOU signals a strengthening of the partnership between the JCF and the FID to prosecute money launderers and seize the assets they have obtained from criminal activities.
Part of the evolution is to redo MOUs as new things are put on the table, as legislation changes that allows us to better use the skills, knowledge, abilities, and assets at our disposals to create a better synergy and deliver better outcomes with respect to the proceeds of crime, money laundering, asset forfeiture, and related matters. It is the profits from crime, apart from making criminals very wealthy, also is a key enabler to criminal activities. The money that is made is what they use to corrupt officials, to buy firearms, to open doors for them, to live lavish lifestyles, to invest money in legitimate businesses and compete in an environment where the money launderers are looking at 90 cents on the dollar, not to mention all of the international obligations we have to ensure that our financial institutions are not tainted by illicit funds. Criminals should be really concerned about hiding their money from us, because we're going to find it, we're going to get it. We're going to wall off as best as possible our formal financial sector from these persons.
As we continue with the news tonight, dancehall entertainer Ryan Ritical McFarlane had his trial postponed when he appeared before the Corporate Area Gun Court yesterday. The 25-year-old entertainer, who is facing charges of illegal possession of firearm and ammunition, had his bail extended and was ordered to return to court on May 19. Reports coming into our news center tonight are that on January 28, a team of officers were on patrol at a location in 8 Miles Bull Bay, St. Andrew, when they allegedly saw the entertainer acting in a suspicious manner. He was accosted and searched and found in possession of a Taurus .380 pistol along with 12 live rounds of ammunition. Ritical reportedly told the law enforcement officers that the weapon was a prop to be used in a music video that he was filming. However, he was taken into custody and subsequently charged. We go to news from Portland now, as the Manchaniel police have arrested 3 suspects in connection with the brutal slaying of 55-year-old Linva Lindsay and his wife, Annette Gibson Lindsay, at their home in Manchaniel on Wednesday morning. Reports from the police coming into our news center are that shortly after 2 a.m., Lindsay and his wife were at home in an area known as Barracks when men armed with guns and machetes entered the premises. The men chased Lindsay a short distance from his house and shot him multiple times before chopping his wife to death. The police were summoned, and upon their arrival, they found Lindsay along the roadway with gunshot wounds and his wife lying in a pool of blood inside their 2-apartment wooden dwelling with chop wounds. The scene was processed and the bodies of both victims removed to the morgue for a post-mortem examination. Detectives have reported that one of the suspects held in connection with the double murder is a male member of the community who allegedly threatened Lindsay and his wife on May 10. Portland has recorded 4 murders since the start of the year. Still making Mello TV news, the decomposed body of a man believed to be Lloyd Grant, a resident who went missing from Biles District in St. Catherine, was exhumed from a shallow grave yesterday afternoon. Reports are that shortly after 2 p.m., a group of residents who had formed a search party in search of Grant stumbled upon the shallow grave and summoned the police. Upon the arrival of the lawmen at the location, which is in close proximity to Kitson Town, the decomposed body was discovered in the shallow grave. The scene was processed and the remains removed to the morgue for a post-mortem examination. We go to Trelawney now for news there. The only fire truck in the parish was destroyed in a blaze yesterday afternoon. There were no injuries. Now, Acting Assistant Commissioner at the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Emilio Ebanks, said the truck was being used to extinguish a bush fire in Georgia near the closed Long Pond Sugar Factory. Reports are that shortly after 2 p.m., the fire department received a call of a bush fire destroying a property in that area. The firefighters responded, and upon reaching the location with the truck, they started to battle the blaze. It is further reported that during the process of extinguishing the blaze, the truck ran out of water and caught fire. The unit burst into flames and was quickly consumed by the fire and totally destroyed. Mello TV News learned that the Jamaica Fire Brigade and the local government ministry will be moving hastily to replace the fire unit in Falmouth. And those are some of the stories making news. We will return with other stories as the National Fisheries Authority, NFA, will be developing a new registration and licensing system that will allow fishers, fish farmers, and other stakeholders to register using their electronic devices. And Minister of State in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, Dr. Norman Dunn, is encouraging microfinance institutions, MFIs, to get ready for the Microcredit Act, which he says will become effective in July of this year. But first, we'll now take a break and then join Christopher Scott with the latest in sports.